So you bind and gag the gnome, and you bring him upstairs, and he's not resisting at all. And he doesn't even look particularly unhappy. Like his brows aren't furrowed. Uh, he's not shooting daggers at anyone. He goes fairly docile as you carry him up the stairs back up into the observatory. What do you do with him?
Connor sits back in the chair, the telescope,
Okay.
wanting to see if that prompts a reaction of some kind.
And he just kind of he takes a second to kind of take stock of the room. So he knows how many of you there are and who all's around, and he sees like the pile of Scrappy laying in the corner. But
The molten husk of Scrappy.
Right.
no, doesn't seem to have any particular reaction to you sitting in the chair. In fact, the chair isn't even like specifically built for a gnomish butt. This is a human-sized chair.
I'll set the gnome down in front of Lucius and say, "Here you go," and then I'll go over here and sit down. Just lean up against the wall.
So where do you set him? Just down next to the dais here?
Yeah,
Okay.
just between everybody.
Rallick's just gonna look at Gus and say, and just kind of look at the gnome and like assault, kidnapping. He's gonna kind of walk down a little bit. Oh, and add manslaughter. And you're the one that keeps accusing me of being a criminal.
To be fair, Dunfoss probably doesn't have a distinction for manslaughter.
Probably not. But yeah.
I mean, I didn't. How's it manslaughter? I didn't like. There's like it's directly murder.
Well, first of all, she's a woman.
No, the woman would be manslaughter. In a real sense, that woman dying because of what she did would be manslaughter.
And second, she wasn't slaughtered; she was burned.
Right. Yeah.
So, woman burned is what he's accused of.
Alex is going to go over to the molten husk of Scrappy and start patching him back up.
Okay. What's next?
Takes level 1 spell slot, and I'm working on that for a minute.
Yeah, a minute passes, and it's relatively quiet. What's next?
Gus is like eyeing Lucius. Like, you're here for something, aren't you?
Yeah. I had to find my notes, find this guy's name, because I wrote it down.
Stonkmeyer.
Stonkmeyer, that's right. That's the wrong book anyway. You're Stonkmeyer, I presume?
And he says,
Gus will look at Alex and go, "Alex, is Fireball? Does Fireball have just verbal components?"
I mean, that's definitely part of it.
You can either nod your head or shake it. So I'll ask you again. Stonkmeyer, I presume?
he tilts his head left, then right. So he's moving his head, but he is neither nodding nor shaking.
All right. You've already destroyed any amount of goodwill you might have had with me.
And he replies,
Has Lucius shared with us what we're looking for? Like,
Yeah.
is it the books we found?
Lucius confirmed that the stuff that you found packed away into the crawl space underneath the dais were the pallets of books and other small objects that Lucius watched the cultists bring into this tower.
I mean, he's not using a spell focus, right?
Well, right now his hands are tied behind his back.
Well, remove the gag then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll remove the gag.
Okay, you take the gag out of his mouth, and
Rallick's
he,
gonna go over here.
yeah,
Rallick's gonna go down here, but
he spits on the floor. This is the gag dried out my glands. I need something to drink.
Your glands. Mm-hmm.
A flask, a wineskin. water something. The drying has a particular effect on a man's voice.
I shook the last gnome we met. Violently. Just saying. It's not too difficult. It's a thing I can do.
And he responds by opening his mouth and making cracked, dry sounds as though he's lost his voice.
Lucius snarls and pulls out a water skin, dumps some of it toward him with very little care for how much he actually swallows.
And he throws his neck back and makes a big show of lashing his tongue out and lapping the water out of the air. Do you, like, empty the whole water skin onto him?
No.
Okay. He smacks his lips together. He says, I thank you. I find myself very much refreshed.
Good.
Where's Rallick going?
No, he's just sitting on the stairs a little bit down past the door in case the guy explodes again, where he can hear. He's not going anywhere.
All right. So, what can you tell us about those constructs then? Those golems.
He looks over at the chairs and looks back at you. I can tell you a great deal.
Right. Why don't you tell us about those constructs then? Those golems.
What would you like to know?
How or why? Okay. How they appeared in the chairs?
A magical summoning triggered by somebody fucking with my telescope.
Again, very unsatisfactory fucking.
Why they appeared in the chairs?
To prevent people from fucking with my telescope.
Isn't that like, I don't know, disproportionate retribution there, my friend?
He tells
What
you that...
good is a telescope inside a sealed room?
Yes.
And he looks around at the inside of the sealed room, which has a domed ceiling. I forget if I mentioned that or not, but domed with 4 large wooden archways at the cardinal directions leading up to the top. The actual roof of the tower, looking up, you just see the cross beams and boards of the tower. There's nothing special up there. And Lucius has been on top of the outside of the tower. Doesn't look like, from either side, doesn't look like there's any mechanism to how it would turn or open up. But he tells you that the nature of this device, he would explain it to you, but how to say this without being rude? Well, I suppose I can't. You're simply too unintelligent to understand the workings of it, and thus explaining it would be a waste of my time and a waste of your man's refreshing drink. Relic, make me a perception check.
Okay. Damn it. It rolled the wrong way. That's only an 11.
Okay.
Well, let's put it this way. Either you are Stockminer or you're not. And I think that for taking property off of Celestis Apt grounds without clearance to do so would be a matter for the Mosscaps to sort out.
I'll say this. For every individual Mosscap that I've ever met, all of them, to a man, are either Stonkmeyer or they are not.
Why is the ground shaking? What are you planning to do?
Is the ground shaking? I haven't noticed.
Well, you see, the last time we ran into the ground shaking like that, somebody was trying to blow up part of the city, and we had to murder them.
He shakes his head. Says a disastrous outcome.
For all involved.
I would hear of the circumstances.
Well, dude made a deal with a warlock to blow up the city. Not, excuse me, not warlock, a demon.
To what end? What demon would want to blow up Dunfoss? A devil, a demon, what's the difference?
Alex just sort of grimaces.
Significantly a lot.
How so?
Connor
It's not
starts
irrelevant
recitating
to the conversation right now.
textbook definitions of the differences between the two.
Connor, make an intelligence check.
Intelligence, ha ha ha. Okay. 2.
You start
I do
explaining
good.
the differences between devils and demons to this gnome. And at first you think he's just too thick to understand it. But very quickly you realize you're embroiled in this debate, and he has a quick counterpoint to everything you say. He's not convinced there is a difference. These are two words for describing the same type of creature, but that type of creature has so many different subvarieties that to some researchers, they look like they can be split into two wide classes. And you know that he's wrong. You know that his argument is bad, but you can't figure out why. And you can't rhetorically win the debate. And you spend, how long do you spend on this topic?
Oh, Connor would have no patience.
So
Once he gets frustrated, he's just like, I'm done.
So like a minute or two, you clam up.
Yeah.
And Stonkmeyer, well, now that's settled.
So,
Does this break?
Does what
He
break?
looks at the... Connor says, looking at the telescope.
He says that he's fairly sure if you attempt to break it, we'll summon more golems into the room. They're programmed not to attack me. Feel free to attempt an experiment. We are men of science.
so Lucius, this guy, I am fairly certain, there's only, he either came in from the outside, which is possible, but he also could have come in from, he did try to go into this room on the second floor, but
Okay.
so that may be where he was, or he maybe there's some path further down into the bowels of the place where the rumbling is happening.
What rumbling? I feel no rumbling. And indeed, none of you have felt any rumbling since you've been in the building.
Yeah, you can fill it out on the street, sir.
He wants to know more about the nature of this rumbling, and indeed the nature of this previous person who wanted to explode Dunfoss. Like, what does that even mean? Was he going to blow up the buildings or blow up the cliffs? Like, what was the goal here, and what was your place in foiling this plan? He seems very skeptical that any of this actually happened.
He's gonna keep you all going all day as long as you keep indulging him. He's just trying to obfuscate.
That's why I'm ignoring him. Yeah.
He's obviously planning something, but I don't see what it is.
I say we put the gag back on him, and then we.
How about opening this door? Can that door downstairs be opened?
Oh, yes.
Where does it lead?
Into my study.
Interesting.
If you were trying to flee, then why didn't you just leave the Why didn't you just leave the tower?
I don't recall telling you that I was trying to flee.
Well, you were running from somebody, so either you had There's only two options when a man does like you do. You either if you're trying to get away from someone like Master Gustavus, either you've got a weapon in there you thought could help, or you thought it was an avenue of escape.
And he looks up at Gus. And I mean, his face is bloodied and bruised, and one of his eyes is swollen and closed. He says, "You there. Start hitting this man about the face with a hammer. I want to see how long he stands in one place."
Who
Maybe
did he
later.
say that to?
He said that to Gus. Because Rallick is saying to the gnome,
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
we know that you were fleeing. That's suspicious. But at the time he started fleeing, Gus was beating him to death with a hammer.
Gotcha.
Then he'll just look at Gus. All right, maybe you should start beating him to death again, and then maybe he'll tell us how to open the door. I'm getting tired of this.
Why do you have people drugged and tied up? They don't seem to be here against their will, from the brief conversations we've had with them.
They are men of science. We are conducting an experiment.
What is your
Then-
experiment? Yeah.
And again, he
You're going
says,
to tell me then
I would
the
love
nature
to
of the-
discuss the nature of the experiment. I have visual aids that I cannot avail myself of at the moment. He kind of makes a show of moving his shoulders back and forth because he's still bound.
No.
He says, but there is an accompanying lecture that I am sure you may find interesting. But I question, and again he peers back at Alex over his shoulder, I question whether any of you have the intelligence to understand the finer details.
Oh, we're all stupid. I'm sure you that.
Give us the do elevators exist in Dunfoss?
No.
Like I'm
I
asking
mean,
if
they're
elevator-
dumbwaiters maybe that have like a rope and winch set up in particularly opulent manor houses, possibly. But no, as a general rule, there's not an elevator anywhere.
Okay, they don't have that Suikoden elevator guy.
No.
Uh,
Which, by the way, it's bullshit that 5 individual people all invented the elevator. Come on.
That's lore
Oh,
I
it
want to
is,
know
yeah.
more about.
Right, yeah.
it's like, who is suppressing this elevator technology?
Exactly.
Are we going to get into the Newton-Leibniz argument here with calculus again or something? But
So what's next?
I'm asking him for the elevator pitch version of what they're doing here. Like, give me a 2-sentence description of it.
And he looks up at Lucius and says, very well, but I believe first I will need some more water. And he opens his mouth up and sticks his tongue out. Ah! Ah! Ah!
I'm sorry, I have to step away for a second.
He's asked you for more water, and he stuck his tongue out and gaped open his mouth.
I'll pull my flask out and pour it and like dump it in his mouth.
What's in your flask?
Moonshine.
Oh, no, he sputters and spits and coughs, and he throws his body to the ground and rolls back and forth. Ah! The man attempts to poison me. I would prefer the beating.
No less than you deserve, honestly, for killing that woman downstairs.
Gus shrugs and takes a swig.
It's alcohol.
Alcohol is poison. Perhaps you are not men of science.
No, we're investigators.
starting
No,
to think
he's right about that one. Alcohol is totally poison.
How are those cigarettes?
look,
Sorry,
we're-
I couldn't resist.
That's herbalism.
It's all
Look.
natural.
We're wasting our time. If he's not going to tell us anything we want to know or help us open that door, let's just put a knife in him and be done with it. He's already murdered. It's not going to hurt anything. He can talk, or he can talk, or we can end it right here. What's the point?
I am willing to talk. It is you that is not willing to listen. I told you I have a prepared lecture that will explain the entirety of the experiment.
Is the entirety of your experiment to like throw another fireball at us? Is that your prepared lecture?
He tells you he's considering it now that you're talking about putting a knife in him.
Nobody's going to kill you.
I am unconvinced.
That's fair.
You have broken into my house. You have taken a hammer to me. You have done Lord knows what with my telescope. And now you're talking about stabbing me in the back. Stabbing a bound man in the back who has surrendered willingly and has not resisted. I know we have a new king, but Dunfalson laws are still laws, are they not?
I want it to be clear. I fucked your telescope.
And by the way, I'm not talking about stabbing you in the. I'm not talking about stabbing you in the back. I'm talking about cutting the tongue out and putting it between your eyes. So,
Rallick,
at this point,
chill out, dude.
He says, even a wound to the tongue can cause bleeding, such as a man of my stature would bleed to death in a matter of minutes.
I literally beat this man into submission with a hammer, and I think that's hardcore. Holy crap.
So, because you'd have to cut his tongue out and then carve a hole in between his eyes to put it in. Like, there's not naturally a hole there.
Oh, I could do that.
Connor
It can be arranged.
pulls out his water skin,
Stockfire.
pours a
Please
little
stop
in his
giving.
mouth.
Please stop giving Relic ideas about how to torture you to death.
What are you doing, Connor?
He pulls out his water skin and just gives him a few drops,
Okay.
as slow as he can.
And he sits back up and puts his back against the dais. Says, I thank you.
Gus,
Talk.
Gus looks hurt as he takes another swig of his moonshine.
Now talk.
And he nods. Says, well, to understand the nature of our experiment, you must know that at the beginning of the universe, we have theorized that it was nothing but everybody make an intelligence check.
Is it just he's stalling for time now? 2! That's double deuce.
You're looking for a 23.
Double deuces.
Oh, I can't
22.
get a 23.
22?
You know what? I'm gonna add a +5 to that.
Okay.
I rolled a 19, but I can't get a 23. So
Okay.
Oh, no.
So it's just Alex beats
Nope.
23? So, to answer your question, he's not stalling for time. He's going into this lecture, which is very detailed about the nature of the universe, the nature of the physical space beyond the surface of the world. And immediately most of you are lost when he starts going into it. He's right. You guys just don't understand the details of what's going on. Alex, you managed to follow along quite well. But it does become obvious to you that this is a very detailed and nuanced experiment he's doing here. It requires very sophisticated machinery and no small amount of very sophisticated magic. And if you allow him to go to the end of this lecture, which he's clearly prepared and rehearsed, I mean, you're looking at a good 1 or 2 hours before you understand the whole nature of it. Everyone else, you can't follow it. You're lost.
Are there any practical applications to what he's going on about, or is this all just testing different theories?
Well, that's the thing, is the practical application of what he's talking about. There could be any of 1,000. And if this man actually knows more about this subject than is common knowledge, like even amongst wizard societies and things, then he probably has a lot of really useful knowledge that can be practical in a wide variety of fields, both in the physical sciences and in fields of magic. But I mean, part of the explanation that he's giving, part of his lecture, is just the mechanical workings of this telescope, which I'm sure Alexander finds endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, Alex is taking notes.
So you guys, literally, he's going to be at this for over an hour. That's the understanding. Is anybody going to stop him at any point?
Rallick's gonna go downstairs and go try to open the door on his own.
Yeah.
To which he stops the lecture, and he says, I see I was correct. So I cannot continue if I have a bored student. And then he clams up. And Alex, he's just getting to the juicy bits of the schematics of this telescope.
I guess I'll shrug and go downstairs as well. Rallick, do you think you could pop the... Well, it's a complex arcane lock.
It's magic, but I'm gonna look at it anyway. It's better than listening to that fool.
Yeah, there's no mundane lock on the door. There's no physical reason why the door should not just open. There's no keyhole. There's no latch or anything. But the door just simply does not... The handle simply does not turn.
Okay, well, step aside, Rallick.
After you, Master Gustavus.
I'm going to kick the door. Try to bust it off its hinges.
Okay. And you guys still upstairs. Now that his lecture has been disrupted, he's clammed up. And you start hearing banging downstairs from the door. And he chuckles to himself. This is your friend, You should tell him he will not be getting inside without the command word. And then he looks at Lucius and asks if he has any more water. Gus and Rallick, coming downstairs and going to the door. One thing you notice changed about this room is that the corpse of this woman is missing. Someone has removed her from the room.
Well, going to go look over it and check the chair for any signs of...
The chair is damaged, the ropes are badly singed, and parts of her robes are... I mean, there's like a pile of ash on the chair itself and on the floor where parts of her robes and her skin and her hair have burned away. But it looks like the corpse has just been removed and taken out of the room. There is a trail of ash now on the floor that you can see on the green carpet of the stairs leading down.
He's going to point that out to Gus, and then I said, you want to go check that out?
Yeah, let's go.
What are you guys doing upstairs now that the man has insisted he cannot continue his lecture while there are bored students? He's willing to continue if you retrieve them and bring them back.
Lucius, what exactly are we doing here right now?
I'm investigating the theft of some property from Telesnazat.
And he scoffs. This is theft. It is a liberation of property from Tyleston Sapt. The moving of knowledge from fools who will do nothing with it to those who will.
And where is your legal authority to remove these things?
He says, where is my legal authority to stand by and do nothing as centuries of precious knowledge are kept under lock and key? What are you guys doing down in the ground floor?
We're investigating to see where this ash trail goes, like the remains of the woman, to see we can see what direction it went.
More difficult to see on this floor because he did detonate a fireball in this room.
Right.
If you want to give me an investigation check.
Sure. What's your investigation?
Mine is not particularly good. It's only a +1.
So one of you give me the check at advantage since both of you are looking.
Yeah.
What's yours, guys?
It's +1, so we can both just roll.
Well, no,
Okay,
one of you roll at advantage because one of you is helping the other.
Okay, I'll roll again. I rolled a 11 the first one. I'm gonna try another one.
Wait, why can't we just use that 11?
Because you said roll at advantage. So
Oh, okay. You did. Okay, so what'd you get?
okay, so that's a 17.
I rolled, but I didn't like what I got, so I'm gonna roll again.
You said roll at advantage.
I played a lot of D&D like that over the years.
Okay.
17.
Yeah.
You do notice, like you can't find an ash trail on the floor because again, a fireball has detonated in this room. But you do notice, similar to the sides of the dais on the third floor, where the wooden boards are sit flush, but they're not connected at all. And you notice that paneling against the back of the staircase.
Let's go over here. Master Gustavus, you think you can pry that open?
I can certainly try. I grab it and I give it a. I don't like yank it off at first. I just try to
Well, there's no handle. There's nothing to grab.
Okay, nothing to grab.
Just the boards of the. And when he
Can
points
I slip
it out,
my knife in? Can I slip my knife in between it? Like, is there enough room?
the point of it, but like I said, the boards do sit flush. There's not enough space for you to slip a knife all the way in. But yeah, you can clearly get your knife in there, and as you wiggle it, you do notice that there's some give. There's definitely a door here.
Okay.
Maybe you can break it down?
Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. Heave.
Go ahead and make a strength athletics check.
That is a 13.
A 13? So you do crack one of the boards. There's a loud sound as your hammer hits the board, and you crack through it into the empty space beyond. And the force of it does push the board in, and when it recoils, where it was magnetically held gives way, and the door opens outward a little bit, and is also partially destroyed.
Cool.
And upstairs, you guys hear a loud banging sound, like somebody's hitting a wall with a hammer. And Stonkmeyer looks up. So you people have one solution to every problem, don't you?
It's worked.
It's a pretty good solution.
If we yell, can they hear us all the way up there, or would one of us have to go up?
Oh, no, you could. I mean, you guys are only like 30 feet apart.
Okay, I'm just gonna yell, "Leave the moron! We found an entrance going down underneath the tower."
Gus yells back up. Put the gag back in.
On it, I was planning to do that anyway, and I somewhat respectfully re-gag him. Are these chairs attached to the floor?
They are. Every chair in the room is bolted to the floor. The difference
Lucius, help me move him
is
to one of the ones that's bolted down.
all 4 of the chairs
Sure.
are bolted. This one here, however, doesn't have a space under the chair. The chair just has wooden panels on all 4 sides going all the way to the floor. And that chair there is the one without ropes. So you pull
Yeah,
the
I'll,
dead golem off the back of the chair and place the gnome on top of it.
I don't know if I'm as good as with ropes as Rallick, but I'll do my best. Yes, use rope is no longer a skill, so how would we know?
Right.
And then, yeah, let's head down.
Yep.
I guess it could be a tool proficiency.
Oh, that's true. I would double my proficiency bonus then.
We had discussed that in the past about whether to allow it as a total proficiency. But it's like, I think maybe Xanathar's does have extra rules about rope.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
It does.
because I recall having read them at one point. But when you guys come back downstairs, yeah, you see that Gus has found a doorway in the back of this stairwell.
Well,
And that
Rallick
was
found-
broken when you found it?
I'll look at Rallick and go, yes.
Relic would go, "Sure."
At the same time, we just both go, yes, sure.
Yeah.
It was like
Alice
just
like picks up the broken piece of wood, and just like magnetically attaches it to Scrappy's back because it just pops off.
Well, there's a strip of iron running down the side
Mhm.
of on the back of the wooden boards that
Yeah.
can connect to a magnetic piece of
Yeah.
metal on the inside.
You just need to get a probe behind there.
They didn't break it. They just said that.
Yeah, it was broken when they got there.
Yeah, it was broken when they got there. And you guys are heading downstairs?
Yeah, I'll tell them about that. We found the body being drug out, and just we'll relay that to the rest of the party, and that's what led us.
and then head downstairs.
Behind Gus, I guess. The
Don't
one's
you have,
still
like,
pretty
8
banged
hit
up.
points?
I have 18 hit points. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's more than I thought you had.
Yeah.
I thought you had 8.
No.
8 and 18 are basically the same number.
Well, when you get hit for 18, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the stairs descend quite a bit to the point where, like I mentioned, the base level of the tower has long since sunk down into this area of Dunfoss where the foundation of the ground is known to have a lot of sinkholes and structural issues along the cliff face next to the sea. And that's what looks has happened to this tower. Is at one point a sinkhole had opened and partially it had collapsed. So when you're coming down the stairs, you do see along the right-hand wall as you descend a lot of places that you can tell the stonework and masonry have been bolstered, in some places with long iron braces. And it looks like the tower might have even been listing to one side and has been righted in the course of this construction. At the bottom of the stairs, you step into a 30-foot diameter room that opens up directly into the tower. This looks to be the original base floor of the tower. And the ceilings here are considerably higher, a 20-foot ceiling. So you guys are circling down the stairs for quite a long ways before you get there. There are 4 10-foot long metal cylinders that protrude from the top of or from the base of that high ceiling that poke down into the room. So you can kind of duck your head to go underneath them. There's enough clearance where you can get underneath them comfortably. But there is an intense heat emanating from up inside of these cylinders. And you can even see, as you're coming down the stairs, looking through the railings, the floor underneath them is blackened with ash, and you can see a soft orange glow emanating from up somewhere inside the cylinders. You also see 4 mechanical constructs, like wolf-sized, dog-headed cockroaches. And they're just marching in a perimeter around the cylinders. So you would see this from quite high up. Like this point on the stairs, you could look through the railings and see that. Gus, because you're the first one marching in. So let's place you back here, and everybody else can orient themselves, and I'll let you choose how to approach these creatures that you see marching back and forth.
Like, are they where? Like, what square? Like these like squares immediately? Like here, here, here. Like, are they just walking in circles like this?
It looks like they're marching around the perimeter of the room.
So like more like this.
Well, if they're at the wall, they'd be coming up the stairs. They're not coming up the stairs.
So
yeah, they're just walking around the inside of the room.
Okay, so they're walking around the inside of the room.
In a clockwise fashion.
So, do you want to just like try to avoid them? I guess there's a door right here.
There is. There's a double door exiting out of the room. It looks like the iron door is above. This is not the natural door that was the entrance to the tower. Mm-hmm. At one point, this doorway would have been the entrance to the tower long ago when it stood on the surface. But it's closed currently, and there's not going to be a way for you to get down the stairs in between the creatures because there's 4 of them marching around.
Okay, so there's no room to get to the door and investigate. It's like basically messing with the door would put us in their path.
Here, you can kind of think of them in a perimeter like this, if this helps. And they're just moving around, keeping equidistant from each other. Now, last time you guys met a construct, it was an innocent doll that you murdered for absolutely no reason.
I don't remember that. Anyway,
Ring a bell.
McDohl is allergic to bullshit.
Yeah.
First of all, before we continue on, I think I see what's going on. Like out of character, I think I see what this gnome is doing, and if I'm right, I hate it. I hate it so much, and I hope I'm not right.
What do you think he's doing?
I will hold it until.
Oh, so you're gonna let us all? So you're all gonna let us jump into this bear trap, huh? Thanks a lot.
Like, no, I mean like the whole situation. Like, I'm gonna put it in a spoiler in the Flumph party chat, and so we know. So that when I'm wrong or right, we'll be able to like point and laugh or go, or I'll feel real smart. Okay, so dude.
Okay, so as an archaeologist,
Yeah.
I can determine who built this area and for what original purpose.
Originally, it must have been a dwarven manse. In ancient times, these were all dwarven lands, and this particular building, I mean, just the size of it, this first room, 20 foot high, 30 foot in diameter, with more like smaller living spaces above. Probably just a lord's manse. One of the guard towers, most like. There might have been a time when there was an outer perimeter wall that linked this one with the other two in a kind of triangular fashion right along the edge of the cliff face.
Before the sinkholes, I expect maybe these were like the main doors at the ground level.
That's correct, but these doors now they're double iron doors, like the iron doors upstairs. Right. Clearly a more modern addition.
Okay.
So the question I had is, can we interact with the doors at all without getting in the way of these cockroach, wolf.
No, I would say by the time you get down to like this point on the stairs, if these things can see or hear, and you're not being, if you're not in like literally invisible, they'll spot you.
Okay. Well, yeah. I didn't know if they would attack on sight or if they're just protecting these.
I know how you can find out.
Yeah, I know how we can find out. Well, Connor, can you throw me a heal?
I was
How
gonna
strong
say,
do you want
Connor,
it,
can you
buddy?
go jump into that?
Connor, jump down and see what happens.
We've been through that before. How strong do you want it?
I am roughly at 50. I'm about halfway dead.
All right.
Wow, you're at 50 and you're worried about it. It must be nice.
No,
After,
50%.
Okay.
That's actually how.
after eating after eating 2 fireballs to the face, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
I cut the damage in half both times.
All right. 18 HP.
Okay.
That is a level 3 cure wounds just for you, buddy.
I could fly above the ground level down there.
Yeah, there's definitely enough space for that. You wouldn't be able to interact with the doors without going down to ground level, though.
All right.
I could cast minor illusion and see if they react to noise.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Probably
point.
worth a shot.
You could also see if they react to sight.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'll use my one cast her long rest. Let me make sure I can do it.
That's a cantrip, kind of illusion.
Yeah, I'll do. You actually use my first level silent image, and create like just an image of Gus standing right there in front of the doors, and see what they do.
Okay. I'm gonna call that roll initiative.
Mhm.
That's what they do. Okay, let me put these guys on the initiative order. That's a low initiative roll.
I was first.
It's okay. We always roll bad anyway.
First halfway decent initiative I've rolled. That one is a 14.
See? That is proper use of the D8, Gus.
So where's Rallick at on 14?
14, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to come into this initiative order on Rallick's turn then, since he started off the festivities. So Rallick, you cast Minor Illusion, and you're just putting like an illusion of an armored man with a hammer.
It was silent image, yeah. So
Silent
it's
image.
yeah.
Standing here.
Of an armored man, right? Is that exact spot?
And what happens is all 4 of the creatures dart over to the image that you've projected. There is physical space to move underneath the cylinders, I think I mentioned. And each of them run up to the space and they lash out with these dog heads. When they open their mouth, you see that they've got these sharp metal fangs inside of their mouths. And then they lower their heads. I mean, they're just biting air. And then they lower their heads and each of them lash out with this insectoid tail. And the tail moves quick as a whip. And when it hits the space where your image is, you see a crackle of lightning in the space. Ooh. And all 4 of them seem very confused that there's nothing standing there. And they all become much more alert. And one of them turns and begins to move up the stairs with its remaining movement.
Mm-hmm.
So this far up the stairs, at which point it knows you're standing there. And that's going to bring us to Lucius.
Can I draw a bead on that thing from where I'm standing?
On this one, on the staircase?
Yeah.
You can. I'm going to give it partial cover because you've got to fire through this railing. Oh, actually, no. 'Cause you're pretty high up on the stairs. You've got cylinders in the way.
Yeah, okay, no problem. That's fine.
I would say you can get this one or this one from your position, though, easily.
I'm going to hold an action. If Gustavus attacks the one on the stairs, I will shoot with an Eldritch Blast.
Well, the one on the
Can I do
stairs,
that?
you don't have line of sight to this one. You have these cylinders in the way.
Mm.
This one and this one you can see from your position.
I really can't do anything with how crammed we are on the stairs. I'm going to dodge.
A good decision. That's going to bring us to Gustavo.
10. I'm going to. Can I get all 4 of these guys with a 20-foot with a 10-foot radius sphere? So that's 20 feet across. Yeah, I can. So that's 20 feet. Yeah, no. So yeah, I'm going to.
I don't see how, because you're either going to miss this guy or this guy with 20 feet. Because you'll either be hitting these 4 squares or you'll be hitting these 4 squares.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Radius.
Oh, 20-foot radius, yes.
No, it's a 10-foot radius.
10-foot radius, no.
Yeah. But my brain said 20 feet, and I was like, so that's what that was. But I missed.
20-foot radius would get the majority of the room down below.
Right. Yes.
There's
Okay.
a reason why D&D tried to standardize that as much as possible, but people are still trying to like convert it, like what's radius, what's diameter. So funny.
So I'm gonna put here. I'm gonna stand here.
Okay.
And I'm going to, using the door as a point of reference.
Yep.
Cast Shatter.
Shatter?
Yes.
You're going to shatter my boys?
Yes. They need to make me a Constitution saving throw at disadvantage if they're constructs, which they seem to be.
Whew, okay. Oh, they're absolutely. I mean, you guys have fought enough clockwork creatures at this point. Yeah, these are definitely clacky, and you guys hang out with one. So, at disadvantage, you say that's a fail. That's a
13.
fail, and a fail. All 3 of them fail.
Well, I didn't roll super well, so they take 9 points of thunder damage, and a non-magical object that isn't being worn or carried also takes the damage in the space.
Thunder damage or lightning damage?
Thunder,
Gotcha.
like thunder, not lightning.
Okay. And the 3 of them, I mean, the shockwave from the shatter spell, I mean, you can hear it rattling through the metallic components, and the 3 of them all arc their necks downwards, low to the ground, and the room fills with this intense, high-pitched hissing noise that hurts your eardrums as they screech in pain. We moving or staying put?
I'm good here. What? Let me mark this spell slot is used before I forget. I'm fine. Where I'm at.
That's going to bring us to Connor. Connor, the space you're standing on here
Yeah.
is the first space you can get over the railing and jump down to the floor. If you're at Rallick space or behind, there's not enough space for you to fit through. From all spaces on the stairs, though, you can see through the railing into the room. It's just a matter of drawing line of sight so you're not hitting one of these cylinders.
So it seems like I can probably get that one. Well, no, I guess I can't, huh?
You could take a step forward and shoot and take a step back. It'd be fine. If you want to end your turn on that square, yes, you can shoot that guy.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Okay.
I will, do I want to make this living hell? No. Not at the moment.
Not
So
living hell yet.
Bonus action, Slayer's Prey. Shoot it in the face.
Okay.
Old tried and true.
Well, quote unquote face.
Quote unquote face.
Weird metal dog head.
Best kind of face. That is a 19 to hit.
A 19 will hit.
19 will hit. Hooray. That is 6 plus... It's 12 damage.
What kind of damage?
Piercing.
Okay.
This is where you tell me everything went beautifully as I shoot my second arrow at him. His numbers keep getting lower. It's a 15 to hit.
15 does not hit.
15 does not hit very well.
So the first arrow punctures through this thing's metal hide, and it screeches out with this piercing hiss. The second arrow just clatters against the metal and doesn't get through.
Okay.
Moving or staying put? It's going to bring us to Alexander and Scrappy.
All right, so Alexander fires up his winged boots, flies out, just below the ceiling to about here.
You don't have space to fly out over the banister until you get to about this point.
Okay. And then can I just circle back around?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get up here. Okay. Loads a ruined bullet in his gun, centers the shot right there, and fires.
Okay.
I am going to need DC 17 dexterity saving throws from those three that are clustered together as a web explodes into the room.
I like to imagine the boots like have a pull cord like a lawnmower.
One pass, 2 fails. I'll let you decide which one passed.
Let's let the one in the front pass.
So the one closest to the stairs?
Yeah.
And that was web?
So let's see here. Yeah, that's a web.
Okay.
It's restrained. The creatures that fail are restrained and remain restrained until they break free.
Okay.
That's my action. My bonus action will be command Scrappy to attack. 30, 35. Can't quite make it. Scrappy will dodge.
Scrappy bounds down the stairs. And it's going to bring us to Rallick.
If I go here, do I have line of sight to be able to hit the one in front of Gus?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he within 5 feet? It's hard to tell with the stairs.
No, he's 5 feet away.
Okay. So yeah, if he's within 5 feet, then I'm gonna pull out one of my daggers. And
Well, he's not. He's 10.
He's
5
not.
feet away.
He's more than 5 feet. Okay, so I'm
Yes.
gonna ready an action. And when he gets within 5 feet of Gus, I'm gonna throw the dagger.
Okay. So what kind of roll is it to? Is it they have to use an action on their turn to break a web? Is that correct?
Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I have the full 20 here. All right. So the web is difficult terrain and lightly obscured.
Okay.
And as an action, they can strength check against the save to escape.
Okay. So I'm gonna get those strength checks first.
Looking for a 17.
I was an 8 and a 9.
No.
But the one who's not webbed can just move out as long as he
Yeah,
doesn't end his
it's
turn
difficult
there.
terrain, but it won't matter because he's leaving it.
Gotcha. It might matter. And how far off the ground are you?
I'm at the ceiling. I circled back up.
Okay, so you're 25 feet up?
Yeah. So I'm 5 feet above the end of the web.
All right, let me measure this out then. So that's 20 feet to get him there. And there's a loud clattering sound as he leaps up and grabs the side of this cylinder and starts scaling it up towards you, Alexander.
Okay.
But very cautiously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't come all the way up the cylinder. He just grabs onto it and he starts climbing up it.
Okay.
The other two, neither of them passed. This is going to trigger Rallick's held action.
Okay.
Come on.
That's a bad roll. That one's only a 13.
13 doesn't hit. So your dagger just clatters down the stairs. And Gus.
Yep.
Now bad things are going to happen with you.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Power of positive thinking.
Gus. I have a 16
No.
and a 25.
Yeah, I'll burn a shield. It's fine.
So lashes out with its jaws and can't find purchase through your armor. And then it lowers its head and the tail slashes out like a whip. You instinctively throw up your shield and there's a crackle of electricity as the tail impacts the shield. And for a moment, you're just illuminated in an orb around your body where your shield absorbs the blow. The other two guys cannot move, and that's going to bring us back to Lucius.
Okay. Lucius is going to move to here. And I assume that I only really have good line of sight to the one on the stairs now. But
No,
right?
because this man here is climbing up the side of the cylinder. Not 10 feet away from you.
Denied. I don't think so, buddy. You're about to go for a ride. Let's go there, and I'm gonna blast. My intent is to try and knock him off of the side of the cylinder and into the pile of web with Eldritch Blast.
That kind of angle. Here's the deal. I'll cut you because that's going to be a real weird angle.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'll say if you get a critical hit on the shot, you can do it. But the angle of the shot, I'm going to give him half cover. So if you don't land a critical hit, it's likely you'll miss the shot entirely.
Okay, like even with my Eldritch Blast push stuff.
Because pushing him away from your position is pushing him into the cylinder. You're going to have to try to angle him so you knock him off the cylinder, underneath Alexander, and into the web. So it's feasible, but it's more difficult than just firing off the shot.
Okay.
We used to call this a called shot back in the day, and it's the worst rule ever, which is why I usually don't use them.
You know what? I'm not gonna go for it then. If it's gonna be too much of a craziness, I'd rather go for the damage than.
Yeah, no problem there. He's 10 feet away from you. You can just launch Eldritch Blast through the railings.
That's a net one.
Mm-hmm.
Spin faster die. Thank you. Okay, that's a 26 to hit.
That'll hit.
Looking at 7 force damage.
Okay.
10 feet. For what it's worth.
Yeah, so you're pushing him, but you're pushing him into the side of the cylinder. So his body crashes against the side of it for a moment, and it lets out this screech. And the blast did what you expected. It's damaged. Moving or staying put?
I'm going to go back up the stairs.
Okay. Reach through the railing and give Alex a pat on the head.
Yeah.
Good job, Alex. It's going to bring us back to Gus.
Okay. Well, Gus is going to... Gus is going to hit this guy right here
Okay.
with...
With the same hammer you used to beat my gnome to death with upstairs?
He's not dead.
You don't know that. He might have died from his wounds.
If he did, he deserves it. This is a booming blade. That
Sure.
is a... It's a 14 plus 9 to hit, so 20...
That'll hit.
Yeah. All right. So that is 8 bludgeoning and 4 thunder.
Okay.
A total of... What is that? That's...
I've already applied it.
Okay. And then bonus action. That is a 17 plus 9 to hit.
That'll hit.
And then this is just straight bludgeoning damage. And that is an additional 7 bludgeoning damage.
All right. And you're just bringing your hammer down on this thing and having no difficulty pounding this metal into submission. This is exactly what you see monsters do to Scrappy on many, many occasions.
Uh-huh.
All right, moving your staying put.
Gus is going to stay here, but he's going to call it to Alex. How hard would it be to get Scrappy to shoot lightning? As he's beating this scorpion, like, cockroach robot thing to death.
And that's gonna...
Depends on whether or not you want the flashback to hit you.
That's going to bring us to Connor.
What's the deal with this one?
This one is climbing up the side of this cylinder towards where Alex is levitating up off the ground.
Okay. Kind of want to shoot that one.
Okay. I mean, Lucius just did.
I think I'm going to shoot that one.
Very good, sir.
Slayer's Prey is a bonus action. And these are just cylinders that go up to the.
They go all the way up to, and then they're fastened into the roof of this room, the ceiling of this room
Yeah.
somehow.
Okay.
Which I should point out is a stone ceiling. It's not the floorboards of the roof, the level above.
Okay. Still gonna shoot him. I was
Yeah,
just,
absolutely.
I was wondering.
Please do.
That is
There you go.
22 to hit.
That's good.
For a 6 again. That is 12 damage again. And I got a second arrow.
Okay.
That is a 17 to hit.
That will not hit.
Will not hit. Very well.
Your first arrow punctures the armor, and the second one clatters off the armor.
Wait, I'm sensing a theme here. Yes, okay.
Moving or staying put?
I'm staying put. I'm good right here.
Colonel.
That's going to bring us to Alexander.
How
I don't know
close
why
has
they
this
gave
one
me
gotten to me?
solid snake eyes.
Not within striking range yet. It's still got to climb up another 5 feet or so to be able to reach you. It used
So
both-
I'm not firing point blank if I shoot it.
Correct. You're not in its threat range yet.
Great. Let's go ahead and put a bullet in it.
Okay.
So that'll hit an armor class of 20.
That will hit.
Magical bullet construct.
And we're going to drop a arcane jolt on that, so the bullet explodes in a burst of force energy. So total is 16 magical piercing and another 6 force.
And the thing is bloodied now to the point where, I mean, it's missing some of the metal plates and components keeping it together have torn off and clattered to the floor, and the thing is leaking oils all over, and part of its jaw has come unhinged from the force of the blast to the point where just you can hear that shriek in its throat at all times now.
Second shot, it's an armor class of 12.
12 is not going to hit. You put a dent in the
How
side of the
far-
cylinder, though.
Can I fly back over to here then?
Not directly. You have to come down to at least here to get up over the banister. Because at this point,
Can I...
unless you have some way to, like, get through the railings.
Yeah, so there's 5 feet of space above the web or the ceiling. Can I circle around like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How far of a drop is this for Scrappy?
Not enough to cause damage. He can just leap over it. It's fine.
Hi! Scrappy will
Come-
attack.
coming up the other side. He's gonna have to go through the web to do that, isn't he?
He can't move through these squares?
Oh, so you think you want him to jump down over the railing, then back up over the railing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So he hits an armor class of 22,
That'll hit.
dealing 9 force damage.
Okay,
And that's the end of my turn.
very good. That's gonna bring us to Rallick.
All right, Relic's gonna ready his knife and throw it and try throwing it again at the same one, the one between Gus and Scrappy.
Okay.
It's a slightly better. That is a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, and that's sneak attack. So that one is 5 base damage.